Locally owned and operated for over 50 years, Delaware Camera is your #1 spot for all your camera needs, education, accessories, printing, and more. Located at 2635 Delaware Avenue in Buffalo. Visit cameraspot.com.
True Believers, Mark from Delaware Camera, jumping in here with Dean. Say hi, Dean.
Hello, viewers. How is everyone doing?
Hello, viewers. Hello, Bat Channel people. Anyway, so today we're going to do a review. We just got the Sony FX-30 in, and Dean put together a little something with the review of the FX-30. But before that, we're going to get into our housekeeping as we normally do. Most important thing today is we have a Customer Appreciation Day. December 3rd, we're going to have vendors here. We're going to have Tamron here. We're going to have Benro here. We're going to have some local shopkeeps here. Shopkeeps, this is Harry Potter. We're going to have a bunch of people here. We're going to show you guys how much we appreciate you with demos, education, the whole nine, everything. So December 3rd, we'll keep your eyes on our social media and we'll tell you all about it there. So December 3rd, Saturday, December 3rd. Keep your eyes out. Come here. It's going to be great. Be able to see producer Will's gallery, which is up right now. His wonderful photos. The replica show that Will has up here that he hasn't given me an artist statement for yet. That thing. But anyway, so December 3rd, keep your ears open. We're going to have a great event here in the store. It's going to be awesome. It's a Saturday. Anyway, tomorrow is our last set of classes for the time being. So we're going to have some new ones coming after the new year, but our last class with Joe Klosik is tomorrow. He had 4 classes that he recently did with us, which were great. Tomorrow is night photography, essentials of night photography. So if you're looking to get better night photos, Joe's your man. He's gonna tell you how to do that and all that good stuff. So tomorrow night, go to the website to sign up. Joe's classes will be up. There's gonna be classes after New Year as well. We're putting together the curriculum for them, but keep an eye out for that as well. As always, keep an eye on the website, social media, and such like that for that type of thing. Next week's show, we're gonna tell you about it right now because we're good like that. So we're gonna have Debbie, our coworker Debbie Orange, is gonna do film. I'm not sure what film she's gonna do yet, but we're gonna do a presentation on film and stuff like that. So that's gonna be pretty cool too. So not sure what else I have to talk about. We normally do. Well, producer Will, you know what we do here. We do rentals, photo finishing. We digitize all your stuff. Oil finishing, photo finishing. Oh. If you got film, we digitize that. We email it to you, all that good stuff. You know, we sell cameras. Christmas is coming up. There's gonna be some great deals on Black Friday, which we're looking forward to. So keep an eye out for that. And what else we got? The studio rental, all that stuff. The upstairs, all the good stuff. The tech talks every Tuesday. We got all that stuff. But I think I've said enough about the store itself. So now we're going to talk about the Sony FX-30, which Dean took out into the field and reviewed it. So,
yeah, pretty much.
So tell us about the FX-30, Dean.
Yeah, so I'll do a little bit of talking, just talk about the FX-30, then producer Will can play the video on how what my thoughts were of using it out in the field. But yeah, to start, cheapest addition to the Sony Cinema line, most affordable in politically correct terms, most affordable Sony addition to the cinema line. Yeah, a 26 megapixel APS-C sensor on this.
This one Netflix approved? Can this one be used for Netflix?
It has not gotten there yet. I'm sure it's in the process because, yeah, because with that, I mean, in terms of recording capabilities, internal capabilities, and codecs and everything like that, this has all the same settings that were approved in the FX3 for Netflix use, but the differences might come down to the noise performance as well as just the overall sensor size. Because Super 35 sensors, which is technically what this is, that's what the video and movie industry calls the APS-C sensor size. They call it Super 35, so that's a lot more common in the video world. This, because it's marketed in that hybrid market area, it's called APS-C. So Super 35 is Netflix available. It's just this camera hasn't been put on that list yet. But like I said, it has all of the same recording capabilities, 4K 120, 10-bit, 422, all the way through, pretty much identical to the FX3. The biggest difference would be probably the 4K 120. You get that extra 1.7 crop as well with that, and that's going to be the biggest thing. Another big thing, 240. Yeah, 240.
Wait.
HD 420
Hold on
in
a second.
S&Q mode.
How are you doing this without notes? How do you know all this stuff?
Because I did my research.
Fair enough. I would have like 5 pages of notes there.
Because I used it. I have to know what I'm using.
Shout out to Lucas Lamb. Like 5 pages of notes.
Lucas could be on pretty soon to review some stuff.
Yeah, no. So
Okay.
you get like a 1.7 extra crop on 4K, and you still get the, as producer Will reminded me, you get the HD up to 240 frames in the S&Q mode, same as the FX3 and the A7S3. Some differences that I talk about a little bit in the video, but some that I don't talk about in the video is the photo mode. So the FX3 has all the same capabilities as the A7S3 in terms of photo mode. Full range ISO, burst mode, everything. Biggest might be a big downside for some people who are still hybrid shooters and look at this camera. There's only single shooting available for photo mode in this camera.
What does that mean?
So there's no burst in this camera.
Wow.
You can't take burst photos, which I'm sure actually disappointed a lot of people, because a 26 megapixel APS-C sensor, we see stuff like that all the time with Fuji cameras, and you know how awesome of a photo camera that line of cameras is. So the fact that the FX-30 doesn't have that burst photo for people who do still sports work in photo work, you know, that might be a negative for you. But still, in terms of the video shooters who are looking for everything that comes out of the FX3 in terms of that 4K 120, the 10-bit, the external RAW, because with that larger sensor, you actually get a higher resolution from the native sensor, because this already is a 6K sensor being downsampled to a 4K image. And so with that larger sensor size, the true sensor readout that you can get through HDMI, opposed to having it compressed into a card, over HDMI, you can get a 4.7K RAW up to 60 frames per second. Although if you're like me, you do have to buy the Ninja 5 Plus if you're going to use ProRes RAW 60, because if you have the regular Ninja, it caps out at 30 frames per second external recording. But that is not the case with the full frame FX3. So if you want that 60 frames in ProRes RAW video for slow motion sports stuff, you're gonna have to pay a little bit extra to get it out of the FX30. But yeah, I mean, full HDMI port, the ergonomic body, all the quarter screw mounts on the body are the same as the FX3. The XLR handle, I really liked the fact that Sony released this camera to give you the option to buy with or without the handle, because a lot of times, a lot of people are using more, especially people whose this price point falls into. A lot of people in the sports world that use 3.5 millimeter shotguns and wireless setups. Not having to invest in the XLR inputs is really nice for people who like me, who don't really have to use XLR inputs every time, and that's a nice option that Sony gives.
So hold on a second, I'm not a video expert. So what's the difference between like the XLR input and the 3.5, and why would I want one over the other, or is there a choice?
So XLR has been standardized as a professional means of audio transference and whatnot. It's pretty much the basic audio cable. It's pretty much been standardized as a professional. It's a 3-pin. it's a 3-pin, yeah, it's a 3-pin audio cable that pretty much has been standardized as the professional standard for audio management, audio transfer, and everything like that. You'll see it in the world of broadcasting to movies and everything like that. It also is super important for transferring power to more professional standard microphones. Typically, there's a thing called phantom power, where with the 3 pins that come in XLR, you can also transfer power. So that's also a big thing in broadcasting too, in the video world, is just getting that external power to a microphone that you don't have to worry about changing the battery all the time and stuff like that, or even recharging a battery, because it'll turn on every time you plug it in. So that is something you get with the XLR handle, and that's not something you have to invest in, because a lot of times smaller shotgun microphones that are under the $300 price point will have rechargeable batteries on their own, and you don't need the XLR inputs. You can use the 3.5 millimeter jack that comes on the side of the camera as well. So yeah.
So this has that, or you can use the XLR with that handle.
Yeah, because the XLR handle gives you 2 XLR inputs. It's the same handle as the FX3, 2 XLR inputs, so you can have multiple channels of a professional line of audio. And then it also comes with a third, technically a second aux jack on the handle as well. And all of that audio and stuff goes through pretty much this little computer chip right through here, kind of like how Canon has that new technology with their flashes. Sony has a similar interface for specifically audio. So yeah, I mean, everything you would want in a camera in this price point. This is a huge comparison and competition against other filmmaking cameras in this price point, like Blackmagic series, their 4K Pro, their 6K Pro series. This is definitely marketed towards sports people like me, who need that really good autofocus. And as we get into the quick little review video I did shortly, yeah, pretty much the autofocus is going to be a professional leading standard. It really is on par with the FX3. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the video. But yeah, everything about this camera is just, professional build, packed into a really affordable option, I'd say. And the best part about the APS-C, especially in terms of affordability.
A fan in there, huh?
Yeah, there is a fan in there, and they actually, I never had any, I didn't talk about it in the video, but I'd never had any overheating issues, and I doubt I would have. I was shooting in a hockey rink, but yeah, no, I've never had any overheating issues anytime I was testing out this camera so far.
That joystick is neat.
Alright guys, as I was able to take out the FX-30 to a Niagara University hockey game, I want to highlight the autofocus capabilities of this camera, as well as the key differences between this and the FX-3. At this hockey game, I was able to put this camera through almost every kind of lighting situation, whether it's seriously dark situations like this, or there's some seriously overexposed bright lights on the ice. This camera performed excellently, especially in terms of autofocus. I could almost compare it exactly to the FX3 in autofocus speeds in every way, even with distracting things like a net in the way. The minimum focusing distance on the Sony 200 to 600 really helped me out with a lot of these long distance shots, and the Tamron 35 to 150, which acted as a 52.5 to 225 lens, acted absolutely perfectly. Getting into the key differences between the FX-30 and the FX-3 is going to be that sensor size. With the 26 megapixel sensor, the FX-30 does have a little bit of rolling shutter, as you might have seen. May or may not be a make or break deal for sports videographers like myself. I really don't think it's that bad. That was one of the few shots I noticed it was really that noticeable. Nowhere near as bad as it is on the A7 IV. Getting back into the similarities between the FX3 and the FX30, the FX30 has that same easy to build around ergonomic body. The ISO performance up to 2500 to me is almost identical in terms of performance. The FX30 is definitely really good at 2500 and 800, but once you get past that, you really start to notice the difference between that and the full frame sensor. But in terms of autofocus, I had really perfect tracking in terms of matching the FX3 speed when I was using the FX30. really identical to the speeds of the full frame sensors. And with that crop factor on certain lenses, especially for people that work in sports like me, you might need that extra reach, and that crop factor might just be exactly what some people are looking for. For people who need fast autofocus, extra reach out of a camera, and a really easy to use camera for run and gun situations, this FX-30 might be a really ideal option for sports videographers like myself.
Yeah, it's PP1.
Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that video. I think one day we're gonna have you and Dean on the camera, just talk technical for like 10 minutes. See if anyone understands it.
Just no prompt. Like just tell us talk about this brand. So
S-Log this,
we'll go
BP
on for
this.
30 minutes.
Like, what? We put like the definition underneath, you guys.
Right.
Like just give us like a bad opinion and we'll just argue about
Okay,
it.
so we're gonna try to do more regular reviews, but I'm gonna ask these kind of questions with every review. So, would you recommend this to a professional?
Yes, I
Okay.
would actually. I would actually, to an extent, I would recommend, depending on the definition of professional, if this is a, if we're talking a multiple crew kind of professional person opposed to a one-man show, even if it was a one-man show, like producer Will here, a real professional that does it all by himself, this would be a really good option. Really good option as a B cam because of that APS-C sensor. You get that extra crop on a lot of lenses that you already have in your possession that really give you a lot more options as that B cam setup. And just in sports world general, this is a really lightweight camera that's really good for gimbal use and stuff like that. We see the FX3 get used by professional sports companies all the time, like the Buffalo Bills. They have a bunch of those that they use for gimbal work, and FX30 would be a really nice alternative option to a lot of budgets because you can practically afford two FX30s body only without the XLR handle as much as you can get a single FX3 with XLR handle. So, you know, there's a lot of options in there. You can really get a lot of, you know, camera power out of this for almost half the price.
Nice. What are your two favorite features of this camera?
Easily it's gonna be the autofocus and how on par it is with the FX3 and the A7S3 sensor. That is just easily the biggest thing for me. It's why I'm so interested in Sony. It's why I'm eventually going to become a Sony owner myself.
Adios.
Go on.
Yeah, no, it's just like that's what I think this camera is why this camera is so appealing to the people like me or people in the who have a budget for cameras under $2,500 that want that professional grade autofocus. This is on par with the $4,000 FX3, and I, you know, really couldn't notice a difference anytime I was out testing this camera.
Does this like it has a tracking focus and stuff, right? Like
Yep, it has
a lot of
all
stuff.
that animal, human eye tracking autofocus. Yeah, so I think this, because this is a larger sensor, this camera actually has, I can't remember the specific number, it's like 471 or whatever. This one actually has 100 more focus points in video mode compared to the FX3, but that's just because of the larger sensor size.
Okay. So what do you think can be improved on this?
495.
What was that?
495.
495.
Producer Will.
Yeah, 495. Phase.
The pluses.
Yeah, thank you.
The pluses, yeah.
Yeah, so biggest thing that can be improved is probably me. The reason I haven't made a full-fledged switch to Sony yet is because I am able to utilize my Nikon so much because I still do a lot of photo work. And that's actually what's got me a little hesitant about getting this myself, is because I still do a lot of sports photography where I need the high burst. With this camera, there is no burst photography mode. There's only single shooting mode. So as well as bracketing, there is bracketing and then there is time lapse, but yeah, no burst photography for the FX30. So if you're a hybrid shooter like me, you know, this might not be the ideal camera if you still do a high pace photography, stuff like that. So definitely something to consider as a make or break for some people.
Question. At the price point, you could just buy right here a Delaware camera A7 IV to go with that, right?
Yeah, if you're comparing it to the this with the XLR handle, yeah, it'd just be 100 more or something like that,
Yeah,
or 300
Yeah.
more, yeah.
Yeah.
2-for-1.
There you go. So, cool. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the video. Wonderful job as always, Dean.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you for doing that. A couple of things before we go away. If you like this, like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about this because this is the best thing going right now. So, special, we have some cameras coming out soon. So if you want a special order, the Fuji X-T5, Canon R6 Mark II, Sony A7 R5. We have fairly short special order list, so if you want to get on there, you'll probably get one sooner than some of those other bigger places. So check that out. Next week is film with Deborah Orange, so keep an eye out for that. We're gonna talk about, I think, portraits she's doing. Don't hold me to that, but it'll be a cool discussion of film next week. So we will see you next week, and thanks for watching this. Have a good day.
Locally owned and operated for over 50 years, Delaware Camera is your #1 spot for all your camera needs: education, accessories, printing, and more. Located at 2635 Delaware Avenue in Buffalo. Visit cameraspot.com